Guru Nanak taught that there are 5 stages in a person's progress towards union with God, which is the goal of uh, life as a Sikh. The first stage is piety, that is, honoring God's law and seeking to help others. The second stage is knowledge. The world is beyond comprehension, but others have experienced God in their hearts, and so they can pass on that knowledge to other people. The third stage is humility, knowing God within the heart. The fourth stage is being filled with the power of the Spirit, that's the Spirit of God, realizing that God is in their heart and knowing that beyond death they can join God. And finally, the experience of truth, entering into union with God. So these are the 5 stages that a Sikh goes through in seeking union with God. Now, Sikhs, as I said before, Sikhism was born in India, this region that gave rise to so many different religious traditions that are often called the Dharmic religions. And like the other religious traditions from the area, Sikhs believe in Dharma, but they have their own take on it. They believe in Dharma, that is the living life in the right way, and they believe that to escape from the cycle of samsara, the cycle of rebirth, they have to avoid karma. So in this way, it's similar to Jainism, Buddhism, Hinduism. But as I said, they have their own spin on Dharma, they have their own spin on karma. Karma in Sikhism is any actions that you take that results in the cycle of rebirth, just like in other Indian religious traditions. But how do you overcome karma? In Buddhism, you overcome karma. You can have positive karma. Usually karma, which just means, it's a Sanskrit word that means deeds. Usually your deeds are that's what karma is the things that you do, and these are things that can weigh you down and cause you to have to live life over and over and over again, being reborn, reincarnated many times. In Buddhism, karma, there can be good karma to counteract the bad karma, and that affects which realm you're reborn into. Right? We've talked about that. In Sikhism, karma is action that results in the cycle of rebirth. However, it can be overcome in the present life, unlike in most of the other Dharmic religions. In Sikhism, karma can be overcome in the present life by the proper understanding of God's truth, proper conduct in accordance with that understanding, and God's grace. The grace of God is very important in the theology, in the thinking, the teaching of Sikhism. And so for Sikhs, the cycle of samsara, just living, dying, being reborn, isn't seemingly eternal. You may have to go through several cycles, but unlike in, let's say, Hinduism or Buddhism, where you just kind of go seemingly forever with these cycles of rebirth, the Buddha, for example, it's supposed to have had hundreds of earlier existence, maybe more than that, maybe thousands. In Sikhism, the idea is that you can overcome your karma, you can get rid of your karma in this life and escape from samsara in this life, at the end of this life. Guru Nanak rejected the authority of both the Vedas, the ancient Hindu scriptures, and the Quran, the sacred scripture of Islam. Instead, Guru Nanak relied on liberation through the grace of God. Remember, I said that the grace of God is a very important concept in Sikhism. According to Nanak, God lies within the heart, and all we need to do is recognize that and accept God's grace. Guru Nanak also rejected traditional ritual practices of Hinduism and Islam in favor of direct experience of God and the teaching of the gurus. So things like that were important in Hinduism and Islam, like pilgrimages, fasting, ritual purification, circumcision, wearing of the veil. These things are prohibited in Sikhism. However, not the rituals that are specifically associated with Sikhism, like the 5Ks. Those are encouraged. Or the practice of baptism or ritual washing as initiation into the Khalsa, the holy community. These are accepted and even promoted by Sikhs. But other traditions that are associated with other religious traditions are explicitly forbidden or discouraged. So dharma, remember, is a word that can be translated as law or religion or duty. For Sikhs, dharma is understood specifically to mean following the path of righteousness that has been laid down by the gurus, especially the Adi Granth, the sacred text of Sikhism. Sikhs value families, and they explicitly reject living as a recluse, a beggar, a yogi, a monk, a nun, celibate. These things that are so valuable in Jainism and Buddhism, Sikhs reject just outright. Okay, there's a statement in the Adi Granth that says, "The faithful do not wander around begging." Okay, faithful do not wander around begging. This tension between the ordinary human life, which includes marrying, having families, and the ascetic life, where one denies things to oneself, manifests itself in different religious traditions. In Christianity, for example, you have a number of religious paths that include the mendicant orders, Franciscans and the Dominicans, and the Jesuits, for example, sometimes include separation, they include asceticism to some extent, they include celibacy for sure, and they sometimes include even begging. That's what the word mendicant comes from in Latin, was beggars. But Sikhism prohibits this. Sikhs also prohibit sexual relations outside of marriage. Sikhs reject eating meat killed in accordance with Islamic or Jewish custom. For Muslims and Jews, the way, if you're going to eat an animal, the animal's throat has to be cut so that all the blood can be drained out. And Sikhs reject this. If they're going to eat meat, according to Sikh tradition, the animal has to have its head cut off with one stroke of a sword or an axe, rather than cutting its throat and letting it bleed to death. So that's a difference in the preparation of meat. As I said, some Sikhs are vegetarian. Many Sikhs are vegetarian, but not all of them are. Sikhs also reject the use of tobacco or alcohol, though there is one group of Sikhs, they're called the Nihangs, that use cannabis as an aid to meditation. Another interesting thing about Sikhs is that they have no clergy. Anyone is permitted to read from the Adi Granth during worship. There are other religious traditions that have no clergy. The Baha'i, for example, or the Friends within Christianity, the group that's usually called the Quakers, they have no clergy. So you don't have to have clergy to have a religion, obviously, and Sikhs specifically have no clergy. So that's pretty much what I have to say about Sikhism. Let me just wrap up by giving you a quick overview of some of the important teachings of Sikhism. Sikhs believe in the oneness of God. They believe in divine mercy. Divine mercy is necessary for moksha. Humans can't get rid of their karma even by following the path of righteousness and all that. They can't get rid of their own karma. They must also receive and accept divine mercy or the grace of God. Sikhs also teach divine justice, right? And for Sikhs, divine justice is those who are evil are condemned to repeat the cycle of samsara, birth, life, death, rebirth, until they get their act together. Whereas those who achieve moksha, liberation in this life, are united with God in the afterlife. Sikhs teach devotion to God. They teach personal discipline. They teach service to others. They teach social equality. As I said, the Sikhs explicitly reject the traditional caste system that is prevalent in Hinduism, at least in some forms of Hinduism, still prevalent in some places in India today. Sikhs, in contrast, call for social equality. And they also talk about spiritual equality, and that's one of the reasons that they don't have any clergy. All their members are equal in the eyes of God. So that's all I have to say about Sikhism, and hope you enjoy the discussions this week.